Hi, I'm Nancy Fetzer. The overview chapter of my Emergent Reading Kit begins on page 11. Recent research indicates that 95% of all children can learn to read at grade level with proper instruction. Unfortunately, too many children are lost right at the start of the learning to read process. This program was developed to bridge the most current research to application in the classroom. Who should use this program? Primarily, this kit is designed to ensure mastery of all foundational reading skills for kindergarten, the early levels of first grade, and it is also a high-quality intervention within the regular education program. What skills will students learn? Immediately and throughout the program, students will learn sight words, as well as letters to blend together for decoding CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant words. And while building these sight word and CVC decoding skills, they will be reading matching decodable books with only those words in them. In this video, I will describe all the engaging activities, kid-friendly manipulatives and tools, as well as independent centers for students to begin learning how to read. Let's begin our overview in the classroom on page 12. Notice in the two reading groups, the top photo is a small group of about 5 to 6 students, while the bottom pictures a large group of 14 students. The beauty of this program is it works in one-to-one instruction as well as small and in large groups. How are these reading groups formed? The Emergent Reading program is broken up into 5 reading levels that progress from red, orange, yellow, green, and finally to blue. In this program, I provide you with initial assessments as well as ongoing assessments for you to place your students in the proper reading groups. Go to page 13. Each of the reading groups have specific blackline masters that are duplicated and stapled together into my unique reading portfolios for students to utilize for their daily instruction as well as for independent practice. The portfolios are filled with pages that display letters, CV blends, CVC words and sentences, sight words and sight word sentences, as well as dictation, and so much more. Students will read and reread the pages of their portfolios for automaticity of these skills. After many days of practice in their portfolios, students then are ready to read their decodable books that are written only with new and previously learned words. You're probably wondering, is there a format or a schedule to follow to teach these reading groups? Absolutely. For optimal instruction, 3 different lesson plans have been developed. The red level, which is the first level in the program, has its own planner. Orange and yellow utilize a 10-day cycle, while green and blue use a 5-day cycle. That means the planners for the early reading levels have more days to ensure more practice and repetition of skills, while in the later levels, students move at a faster rate. Now, let's review all the different activities that you will teach in this kit. On page 14, let's first begin with letters. This program introduces letters in a specific order, that is, in the frequency that they appear in text. Each reading color group is assigned specific letters to master names and sounds, words that begin with the letters sound, and how to print them. Notice the letters puppet. This puppet is used to identify the objective of the lessons. You need to read and write the letters as fast as a snap. Next on page 15 are the activities to introduce the new letter using the tactile kinesthetic alphabet card. Notice here for the letter T, I have that showing, and matching sound cards. And in this case, these are the T sound cards that match the letter T when introducing it. Students then go to their new letter page in their reading portfolios. Notice on this page, they will see the uppercase, lowercase, as well as pictures that begin with that initial sound. Once students have practiced on their new letter page, they then will go to the review letter boards in their portfolios. That's where they will practice reading the new letter as well as previously learned letters. When I say reading the letters on the page, I mean that they will say the letter sounds or the letter names, depending on what the teacher has asked them to do in that reading of the board. Additionally, students will be introduced to the letter formation, where they just practice forming the letter using their body or a pointed finger in the air, skywrite, followed by whiteboards where they will practice this letter formation repeatedly. Please go to pages 16 and 17 where I will introduce blending. At this point, students have learned some letters and they are ready to blend CV letter combinations using only those known letters. Then they will advance where they will decode CVC words or consonant vowel consonant words. Why do I have CV blends that lead to CVC words? Often students have trouble blending three sounds together. So the CV practice provides a stepping stone many students need when first learning this skill. This means they will be blending two sounds together, even though they don't typically make words. But that's the stepping stone so that they learn how to blend. Let's say that we take the word mat. Many children will have difficulty blending those three letters together quickly enough in order to read the word. They end up reading it at instead of mat. So we will first start with just having them blend those known letters together, ma, sa, as a stepping stone to then move to the next level of blending three letters together, mat, sat. When teaching these lessons, you will use a puppet to introduce the I decode it strategy as a cue for students to remember that when they read these types of words, they are blending the letters together. When introducing the CV blends or CVC words, the teacher displays the different combinations on a strip. The CV blends on the top picture, CVC blends on the bottom picture. Students blend the CV letters using a process called tap, tap, sing, say. The teacher will say, boys and girls, remember what our puppet is telling us to do, to blend the letters together. And when we see the two-letter blends, we will use tap, tap, sing, say. My hands are showing a cue. Tap, tap, meaning when I point to a letter, you say the sound. B, a. When I sweep, you sing it. Ba. When I make a straight line under, you say it. Ba. Why do I have students do this? Because they're first going through and previewing those letters of the two-letter blends. Look at them in isolation to remind ourselves how to say those sounds. B, a. Next, we're going to show them how to blend through the singing process. Why? Because singing helps students blend letters together. Sometimes when you just go to the say, they again just go b, a. So we are going to show ba, then say it ba. After students go through the tap, tap, sing, say process of a list, then you take away the tap, tap, and you just have them sing, say, ba, ba. And then finally they read the list a third time, where they just say the two-letter blends. Ba. This is followed by them going to their portfolios and practicing the two-letter blends on their pages. This whole process is repeated when students read CVC words. Notice I call these CV blends because we are not reading words yet, but these are CVC words that we now will use the blending process in order to read, to decode. When the teacher is introducing CVC blends, the tap tap is omitted. Students have had plenty of practice to read the two-letter combinations, so at this point they will only read the words using sing, say. Ham, ham. After reading the list with sing say, go back, then say it, ham, and go down the list and continue reading each word. Once students have practiced this whole group with the teacher, they then go to their portfolios to read their CBC blend pages. Notice on both pictures there's highlighting. I have a process where students will highlight these different words so that they can preview them on their pages before they read them on their own. Let's go to pages 18 and 19 for sight words. In their reading groups, students also will learn to read and write sight words using the I Know It puppet. This puppet is a visual cue of the objective of how to read sight words. That is, these types of words are memorized to look at the whole word and read it as fast as a snap. When introducing the new sight words, you will use chants, cheers, mnemonic cues provided in this program, followed by a build a word activity where students use cut up letters to repeatedly practice spelling and then reading the new sight word. After introducing these words, students then practice reading and writing the new and previously learned sight words repeatedly for mastery using sight word boards, sight word sentences in their portfolios, as well as writing them on whiteboards. On pages 20 and 21, I am very excited to introduce to you the Mix Them Up activities. Mix Them Up is unique yet vital. Often students learn sight words and blending in isolation. Then they're expected to go to a book and read it with both types of words. And they have difficulty doing that because they don't know what strategy to use. They only were used to reading these words separately. So always in their brain, when they were reading sight words, saying, I'm looking at the whole word and I'm just reading it as fast as a snap. Oh, I'm looking at these words, I'm blending the letters together to read them. But they don't have an opportunity to practice switching those strategies as they go through text. The Mix Them Up strategies provide students with that practice of switching between the skills of how to read these words. Sight words need to be read as fast as a snap, and our puppet's there to give a visual cue to students that that's how we read them. On the other hand, our CBC words are read by blending the sounds together. And again, there's our puppet to give children the visual cue of that strategy. Notice in our top photo, the teacher posts the I Know It and I Decode It puppet. Next, the students and she preview and code each word to decide the strategies to use when reading them. The CVC words are highlighted while the sight words are boxed. The codes remind students how to read the words. Box words are sight words, look at the whole word and read it as fast as a snap. And highlighted words need to be blended together to read. From left to right, blend the letters together to read the words. After practicing this strategy with the teacher, the students then go to their portfolios where they will code their words, boxing or highlighting, and then read those mixed up words on a word board or in sentences. This way, they will practice how to switch back and forth between the two strategies of either it's a sight word, read as fast as a snap, or it's a CVC word, blend the letters together. Go to pages 22 and 23 for dictation. Dictation reinforces newly learned words using the spelling strategies I Know It and I Slow-Mo It. Notice the puppets on your page. Students will use the same strategy I Know It for reading and writing sight words. That's because these types of words are memorized. However, when writing CVC words, students are required to segment the word or separate the sounds in the word in order to write them. So in reading the CVC words, they blended, but in writing the CVC words, they need to segment the sounds. So if they were writing the word mat, they need to be able to segment the word mat by saying at. segmenting each phoneme or sound in their CVC words, and then writing the matching letter down. Notice in the photo on page 23, both puppets are displayed during the dictation lessons as cues for students to determine how to spell words. During these lessons, the teacher dictates lists of sight words and CVC words mixed together for the students to write in their portfolios. The students use their as fast as a snap chart as a reference when writing sight words, or letter cards to build the CVC words and then to record on their dictation pages. Below, there's also a dictation sentence page in the students' portfolios. The teacher will dictate a sentence that have both types of words in it for students to write in a sentence. So while writing a sentence, the students need to decide when writing a word, what type of word is it? Is it a fast as a snap, a sight word that I just write down as quickly and as fast as a snap, like I, like, and the? Or is it a CVC word that I need to say slowly and write down each letter that represents the sound I say in order to spell that word? On pages 24 and 25, I will introduce Read the Book. Finally, after all the intense practice of reading and writing sight words and CVC words mixed together in their portfolios, students then will read their new books that are only written with these words. For more support before reading the text in their books, students can preview each page by boxing the sight words and highlighting the first two letters of CVC words. This coding of the text will help students determine the strategy of how to read each word. Notice the I Know It and Decode It puppets are used as cues for students to determine how to read the words. Once students read their books fluently, the teacher then will work on comprehension skills using a language walk, a summary sentence, and also depth of knowledge questions. On completion of this kit, when students have moved through all the reading color levels, they will independently read 48 sight words and all the short vowel CVC words in decodable text. Please turn to pages 26 and 27 for independent work. The whole purpose of independent work is for students to practice, 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 so that they master the skills that they've been learning. In this program, many different activities are offered for students to practice the skills they've learned by reading or writing only the portfolio pages and familiar books that were introduced and practiced during their reading groups. Additionally, students may also be assigned watching and interacting with the Emergent Reading Kit's free online videos. These online videos are approximately 8 to 10 minutes in length. Just log on to www.nancyfetzer.com and go to the Emergent Reading Kit. The videos are organized by the color group levels. This concludes the overview of this program. In the next chapter, I will show you how to organize and prepare all the materials in this kit so that you're ready for instruction.